Now, hello everyone, and I thought it was worth running through the solution to our retrofit example, just to give you a better idea of where the kind of the cause would need to go, just in case you run into a few problems while you're working through the lab. Okay. So what we're looking at here is this is the donation client, and you can see the URL I have highlighted there. So what I would suggest to begin with is actually access that URL. Okay, so if we go to our web, right, and if I access that URL so far, just do a refresh again, right. What we're looking at here is I've gone to the slash donations endpoint. So if you can see here, we have an 83, a 996, 222, and a 321. Okay, so if we go back and we look at that in our report screen, 83, 996, 222, 321. So all the elements are there. Okay, so if I then go and add a donation, excuse me, here we just put 1,000 in there. Okay, direct, and do donate. Our total updates like so. Okay, we look at our report, right, there it is down the bottom. Okay, but also if we do a refresh on the browser on the server, there is the 1,000 just gone in as well. So we're just confirming that our post works okay. And if you want to, the other feature we had built in was our slide to delete. So if I now drag that across, so you can drag it across, so that we would have configured those helper classes. If you want, you can change the color, whatever, drag it across. So that's removed from our list. But also if you go back to our server, and if you do a refresh on the server, you'll see it's also gone as well. Okay. So just to talk a little bit about where we would make these calls. So we would have covered this in the previous section, but if we could, for argument's sake, if we look at our report, right, in our report view model, here we are, here's our load, there we are, donation manager.find all, so that triggers the list, okay, which is in our report view model. Okay, so if we go back, if we just look at our report fragment, I'll expand that for you. Okay, so in our on create view, all right, here we are binding to our report view model again, and if you notice, we really haven't changed. It's exactly the same. So this kind of highlights the benefits of the MVVM. So we've changed the view model, but the actual view hasn't been affected at all. All we're doing is we're still just retrieving the same information through that render. So when we call our render, we're just displaying. If we scroll into our render, I think it's down here, is it? There we go. Okay, don't worry about those errors there. It's just whatever way it's after loading up for me. All right. So this is exactly the same as what we had in the previous examples. The major changes we've made is back in our report view model. So which is here, which is the previous example, we were retrieving kind of from the raw list itself, whereas now our find all is making those requests. So again, let's have a look at our donation manager. Just collapse these down again. If we look at our, where are we gone? There we are. Our donation manager, just expand that for you. Okay, so here's the find all, which is inside the donation manager, which in turn is creating and making these anonymous callbacks to get the information from the server. So when we say call.onCue, it will automatically trigger that. What we've called function, obviously find all, that will trigger this call here, which will then go off and retrieve our data as necessary. Okay, so it would be if I can collapse those down. So we have our find all, there's our find by ID, Still haven't kind of looked at that yet. We have done the create, so there's with our donation wrapper. And we have done the delete, which also includes the donation wrapper. So just be careful of that. So it could be no harm if when you're working with the delete and with the create, just keep track of your logs. And actually while I'm here, if I actually look at the logcat myself, if I open it up, I have it there. Let me see. I suppose it's gone again, is it? Oh, there we are. It took a little bit of time to catch up there. So if I drag that up a little bit, and if we run through there now, let me see, we'll scroll back up. There's a couple of timeouts there actually, probably not great. Might need to check that. But if we look at our, where are we going? There we are. There's our report view model. Look, the delete was successful. So whatever those timeouts are to do, they were after the fact. Okay, there's our delete. Actually, what's that called? So I can actually do a search. So if we do retrofit, so if we just search for retrofit. So here's all the retrofit messages that we were getting back. Okay, so look, there's the initial load success. There's the JSON getting pulled back. You can see it there. That's that full JSON list. You can see it there. So a lot of information that Timber is thrown back to us there. But the most important bits, I suppose, for us, look, successfully added, successfully deleted. That's what's coming back from the server. That's the JSON information we're getting back, and then we just parse it on the client side. Okay, so look, you got obviously a bit overkill on the Timber statements there. So if you want to, you could actually go through and maybe reduce those, maybe take them out altogether if you want, and maybe kind of display some information back to our messages back to the UI or the screen to give some feedback to a user. But again, this is just kind of for testing purposes. We're just demonstrating how to use retrofit in a particular app. Okay, so in the next example, in the next version, we will move away from the single user, and we'll have a multi-user implementation using our Firebase authentication. Because at the moment, if I go over here again, someone else could have donated to 321, but over here I could delete that one. Even though I may not have deleted it, this is what I'm pulling down from the server, so I can delete all those at will, as they say. Okay, so look, again, any questions, any issues, you can contact us over Slack or email. Okay, so hopefully you won't have too many problems with the lab, but we will be online for that lab case for when we're working through the lab at that point in time. Okay, so look, thanks for listening, and goodbye.